Hello, welcome to lesson number 4. Lesson number 4 introduces the treatment planning process, the process of identifying objectives and goals that are client-driven, but also are impacted by your professional perception, of course, at the same time. But generally speaking, when developing treatment plans and client goals and objectives, the general standard is for those to be driven by the client. In some arenas, it's called person-centered planning, and this may work well. It may not work well, based on the stage of the client and the process and the individual circumstance. So, just because we say that treatment plans should be driven by the client and a client focus, it isn't always the easiest answer either. So we have to have a balance. A really good treatment plan has a balance of your own professional experiences and expertise in guiding the client, and also helping the client with their own goals and needs and life issues at the same time. So in this lesson, lesson number 4, we're going to be talking about treatment plans and so forth. We will be reading Chapter 4 out of your textbook, which relates the treatment planning process to the current stages of change model we will be discussing throughout the semester. So as we go through the chapters, we will be emphasizing almost in every chapter the process of adapting certain skill sets to this stages of change model. So in the prior chapter, we looked at the assessment process, the client assessment process. In this chapter is the treatment process. And the next chapter we'll be considering or at least introducing the variety of ways that treatment can be provided in the substance abuse setting. I've also included some multiple online readings, excuse me, from TIP 44. TIPs are called Treatment Improvement Protocols. They're published by the federal government to be distributed to students and to professionals in the field about best practices related to substance abuse treatment and mental health treatment and so forth. If we do have one item in this field of substance abuse treatment, especially substance abuse treatment, is a really large library and a group of resources that's been federally sponsored and is free to the public that we can use to learn about and improve our daily practice. This TIP 44 is actually a big book, but we will only be reading one chapter out of this book on treatment planning, specifically treatment planning for the criminal justice population and maybe the dually diagnosed population, meaning dually diagnosed, a client who has a substance abuse diagnosis, but also a mental health diagnosis over and above the substance abuse diagnosis. We will be looking at integrated recovery models, meaning holistic recovery models, which is really the newest catchphrase in the field that's being supported by federal funders, and the principles of effective treatment, which I usually share in all of my classes. And this is a small federally sponsored booklet, again, that talks about what effective treatment is and is not, and why treatment planning is so important. There's a motivational interviewing handout I will be sharing. It's called What I Want from Treatment, and which is a self-assessment of sorts. The client fills out by themselves or with help of a counselor, and it helps the client identify what types of treatment goals they may want to work on and work towards during the treatment process. I've also included a small video, of course, on treatment planning processes. We have a discussion board on how we manage the treatment planning process in terms of the needs of the client and maybe the needs of you, the therapist, and the needs of the greater systems involved. And we have the first of our 2 short lesson papers. These lesson papers are more reflective in nature. I have given you a reading assignment that will support the lesson paper that talks about how to appropriately structure treatment planning processes and goals and objectives. And after reading this document, you will be responsible for writing this 2-page paper, no more than 2 pages, that's double-spaced, that meets all formatting requirements, including APA formatting and so forth. And this paper is worth 100 points. After submission of the paper, I will take a look at all the papers and respond individually to each of your papers and provide suggestions for the next time. This paper is worth 100 points and must be submitted by the lesson due date. If you do have questions about the paper, please let me know, and you will find the paper submission link inside of this lesson box. Again, so this lesson is about treatment planning. Without good treatment plans, we shouldn't. How do we know what type of services to deliver to the client? I had a professor at Appalachian State many years ago, who is retired now, but still practices in North Carolina, who said something that I certainly remember in class one day. He said, if you don't have a plan or some type of roadmap before you walk into the office to meet the client, then you may have already lost the game. And his words were, you have to have a plan. You and your client need a plan. You just can't walk in and shoot the breeze for 60 minutes and expect positive change to occur. Seldom does that occur. And I believe firmly that we can be humanistic, we can be human-centered, we can be person-centered, we can be in the same time and place and space of the client and meet the needs of the immediate future and the needs of the now, while still having a plan, while we still have our focus on the long-term goal. I hope this video helps, and let me know if you have questions about the very first 2-page reflective assignment. Thanks so much.